Rest in peace to Chris Jasper. I just had got the word. Oh, this one hits because as a fan of the Isley Brothers, especially the 3+3 era, the 70s, the funk, the jams, the groove, his blazing keyboard work, the way he put things to light. And he was only 73, and I remember just listening to the electrified funk of what he did. So much the Isley Brothers, um, and all due respect, because Ronald is one of the greatest vocalists, aka Mr. Biggs, and Ernie Isley, one of the baddest guitarists and also drummers, but Chris Jasper's keyboard work. I mean, come on now, because think about it, 70s era band with no horns and just bamboarding, hitting the funk on the keys like that, with the in the era where horns were everything, and his keyboard playing was so distinctive and meticulous, and you always knew that siren groove. You could always tell his tone. Um, you know, it leading up to Caravan of Love too. By the way, with Isley Jasper and Isley, you know, he was a bad dude. I mean, this cat flat out could play, flat out could groove, you know, um, old school player for real, but had the tools to back it up. It's like, I'm like, oh, not Chris Jasper, because I always was hoping, I know it wasn't going to happen. The eyes would ever get back, because there's a lot of stuff goes on, but his musicianship, the cat was hanging and holding his own. And I think I tell people this all the time. Think about it. They were a band without a horn section in the 70s where horns was everything. So you had to be a special, particular player to pull it off in an era where everybody had the horns and you were riding on the keyboards, where keyboards weren't as dominant. The keyboards had an impact, but they weren't as dominant as they became in the 80s. So think about it. He was ahead of the curve. He was ahead of the corner. It's like, uh, he was a bad dude. And it's one of my favorite musicians. I love the sound of what the Isleys was doing, especially when he became part of it, because it took their stylings and their grooves to a whole nother level. And if you were an Isley brother head, especially during the 3+3 era, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I ain't got to explain nothing. Because that funk and them slow jams, footsteps in the dark, when you hear that, you hear his chord line, you hear his tone. You always knew his hands, and for the love of you, you hear that those keys. He was such a distinctive musician. I watch interviews on him, the different things that he would go over, what he would discuss, the totality. I still remember when his debut album came out back in '87, because he had a song like "I'm Bad," and he said he liked what LL Cool J was doing with his that style, and he wanted to hit it with the funk. And so he was a groove cat, and he stayed doing his thing. He put out records, he did different things, and I followed him on Facebook and always was aware, just keeping up with him musically. Um, Loved his interviews, love his dedication and the totality of them. So this is it's one hits hard, because that's one of my, they're my second favorite band ever. Behind Earth, Wind, and Fire, Isley Brothers is everything, and Chris Jasper was huge, huge, huge. Only at the age of 73. So rest in peace. Thoughts and prayers are with the family. And if you have any of those 3+3 eras, the era, that Isley Brothers era, with the grooves and the slow jams, you know what I'm talking about. The T-neck era. That's where Chris Jasper really stood out and did the thing on the band board. So I'm out.